Ever pondered why English holds a key role in global communication? Sit back, relax, and let's uncover the mystery together. In the vast expanse of our world, brimming with countless languages and dialects, English has emerged as the common language, the lingua franca, if you will. It's the bridge that connects diverse nations and cultures, fueling international cooperation and understanding. This isn't just a random occurrence. There's a reason behind this linguistic phenomenon. Picture a world where every nation spoke a different language, with no common linguistic thread to bind them. Communication would be a Herculean task, wouldn't it? English fills in this gap, serving as a unifying element in global communication. It's the language that brings together a Russian scientist, a Brazilian businessperson, a German artist, and an Indian student into a single conversation. Now, shift your focus to the world of business. How do multinational corporations operate smoothly across borders? You guessed it, it's English. This language acts as a conduit, helping businesses to transcend geographical boundaries, fostering global trade and economic growth. The significance of English doesn't just stop at business. It's also the language of science, technology, and innovation. International conferences, scientific journals, technological advancements. English is the common denominator. It's the language that allows scientists from around the globe to share their groundbreaking research, propelling humanity towards a brighter future. And let's not forget entertainment. Hollywood, Netflix, global music. English is everywhere. It's the language that allows us to laugh, cry, and experience a whirlwind of emotions together, transcending cultural boundaries. In essence, English is more than just a language. It's a tool, a catalyst that fuels global communication, breaks down barriers, and brings the world closer together. English, undeniably, is the linchpin of our global conversation. But how did English rise to its global prominence, you might ask? Well, the story of English, like any good tale, begins modestly. It's a tale of humble origins, grand ambitions, and the unexpected turns of history. English, in its earliest form, was a West Germanic dialect brought to the British Isles in the 5th century by Angles, Saxons, and Jutes, warrior farmers from what is now Germany and Denmark. It was a rough and ready language, a far cry from the rich and expressive tongue we know today. As the centuries rolled on, the language evolved, shaped by historical events and cultural exchanges. The Norman conquest in the 11th century, for instance, brought a wave of French words into the English language, enriching its vocabulary and transforming its grammar. But the Middle Ages was perhaps the pivotal period for the English language. It was during this time that English started to flex its muscles, spreading across the British Isles and becoming the language of law, government, and literature. However, it was the rise of the British Empire that truly set English on its path to global dominance. From the 17th to the early 20th century, Britain's empire expanded across the globe, encompassing territories on every continent. And wherever the British went, they took their language with them. In India, Africa, the Caribbean, and beyond, English was introduced into local schools, courts, and government offices. It became the language of trade, diplomacy, and education. As a result, generations of people around the world grew up speaking English, not as their mother tongue, but as a second language. So, there you have it. From a small island off the coast of mainland Europe, English spread to every corner of the globe, carried by the winds of empire, trade, and cultural exchange. The British Empire, set the stage for English to become the world's language. The story of English, then, is not just a story of a language. It's a story of power, influence, and global connections. English, however, didn't stop evolving after the British Empire. Even as the sun began to set on the British Empire, English was finding fresh soils to till. The 20th century, particularly, was a period of rapid evolution for the language. The United States, with its burgeoning economy and cultural influence, played a key role in this process. Hollywood, with its glitz and glamour, began to spread American English across the globe. Films, music, and later television shows brought American idioms, accents, and cultural references into homes far removed from the American heartland. But it wasn't just Hollywood. The business world, too, was increasingly operating in English. As multinational companies set up shop in different parts of the world, they brought with them the language of their headquarters. And more often than not, that language was English. It was in this era that English truly became the lingua franca of the global economy. But the story of English's evolution doesn't end there. The dawn of the 21st century brought with it a new catalyst for change: the Internet. As the web grew, so did the influence of English. It swiftly became the dominant language of the digital world. From social media platforms to online forums, from e-commerce sites to digital news outlets, English was everywhere. The Internet also created a space for new dialects and forms of English to emerge. Text-speak, memes, and Internet slang brought about a whole new vocabulary. Words like selfie, troll, and hashtag became part of everyday conversations, demonstrating how English continues to adapt and reflect the times we live in. And so, English, a language born on a small island, has evolved into a global tongue, constantly changing and adapting in response to our changing world. It has absorbed words and phrases from countless other languages and has spread across continents, cultures, and now cyberspace. English, a living language, keeps evolving to reflect our changing world. So, where does English stand in today's global landscape? Let's take a look. English has solidified its position as the lingua franca for global communication, and it shows no sign of slowing down. It's the most studied language worldwide, with millions of people dedicating hours each day to mastering the nuances of this rich language. From Asia to Europe, Africa to the Americas, people are embracing English as a means of connecting with the wider world. This phenomenon isn't just limited to individuals. Many international organizations have adopted English as their official language. We're talking about powerful entities like the United Nations, the World Health Organization, and the International Monetary Fund. These organizations shape our world, and they've chosen English as the language to express their ideas, policies, and decisions. It's not just about officialdom, though. English has permeated every aspect of our lives. It's the language of the Internet, the language of science and technology, and the language of global business. It's the language that brings together researchers from different countries to collaborate on life-changing projects. It's the language that allows a small business in one corner of the world to trade with a multinational corporation in another. And it's not just about work. English is also the language of entertainment. From Hollywood blockbusters to catchy pop songs, English is the medium that allows these cultural products to cross borders and reach audiences worldwide. So, why is English so pervasive? It's because English is more than just a language. It's a tool for understanding and being understood. It's a bridge that connects different cultures, different ideas, and different people. It's a passport to the global community, opening doors to opportunities and experiences that would otherwise remain out of reach. In this sense, English is not just a language that we learn. It's a language that we live. It's woven into the fabric of our daily lives, shaping how we think, how we communicate, and how we connect with the world around us. Today, English is the key to the global community. In this whirlwind tour of English history, we've covered an impressive terrain. From the early dawn of English as a global language, we traced its roots, watched it evolve and bloom into the linguistic powerhouse it is today. It's been a fascinating journey, hasn't it? A journey that has shown us why English is the lingua franca for global communication. Let's jog our memories a little. We delved into the importance of English in global communication, didn't we? We discovered that it's not just a language, but a tool, a bridge, a common ground that connects people of various cultures, races, and backgrounds. It's the language of science, of technology, of business, and in many ways, the language of progress. Then, we traveled back in time to the dawn of English as a global language. We witnessed how it spread, how it was shaped by historical and political events, and how it was carried across oceans and continents. We saw how it took root in various parts of the world, becoming part of their identities, their cultures. Next, we explored the evolution of English. We saw how it adapted, how it changed, and how it grew. From Old English to Middle English, from early modern English to late modern English. It was an evolution that reflected the changing times and the changing world. Finally, we looked at English today, a language that is spoken by over 1.5 billion people worldwide. It's the official language of more than 70 countries, and it's the second language of millions more. It's the language we use to communicate, to express, to understand, and to connect. In this journey, we've seen how English has transcended boundaries, broken barriers, and brought people together. It's not just a language, but a medium of expression, a medium of understanding, a medium of connection. In the grand scheme of global communication, English reigns supreme, bridging cultures and connecting minds.